Good day, everyone. This is a presentation for the topic Road to Globalization and the GUTS 2020, and covering specialization as a tool for global competitiveness. Now, what is the GUTS or the GATS? GATS is the General Agreement on Trade in Services. This is a treaty of the World Trade Organization or the WTO, in which the Philippine government is a signatory, thereby officially committing RLAs or registered and licensed architects, together with other registered and licensed professionals, and under the World Trade Organization, commitments made by the Philippine government as well as all other member nations cannot be taken back. That is, to create a stable trading climate. However, some countries like the USA and the European Union have apparently successfully withdrawn certain commitments. Now, professional services, including architectural services, are generally deemed as commercial enterprises. The GUTS covering professional architectural services is expected to take full effect in 2020, and that is this year. Now, what are the current conditions of the implementation of the GUTS? As of now, we have these modes. We have the APEC Architect Registry. That is initially via a collaborative mode, whereby a Filipino registered and licensed architect must partner with a foreign architect if the foreign architect is to work on an architectural project on Philippine soil. We also have this ASEAN Mutual Recognition Agreement, or the MRA. Also, this is through collaboration. And both of these, APEC Architect Registry and ASEAN Mutual Recognition Agreement, recognizes reciprocity, that is, based on absolute terms of equality in academic and or training credential evaluation, licensure, and certification, that is as provided by the concerned laws. So which means that, for example, in ASEAN, there should be equal recognition for academic requirements of architects, as well as qualifications for becoming architects. Now, what is the ASEAN MRAs? So far, we have these professional services that has already formulated their respective programs. We have engineering, nursing, surveying, and architecture was signed in November 2007. The MRA is based on this AFAS, or the ASEAN Framework Agreement on Services, Article 5 on recognition, which says that ASEAN member states may recognize the education or experience obtained, the requirements met, or the licenses or certifications granted in another ASEAN member state for the purpose of licensing or certification of service suppliers. Which means that, for example, in the Philippines, if there will be a foreign architect coming, from ASEAN member country, then whatever education or experience obtained by that foreign architect is recognized by the Philippine government. And that goes for also in other ASEAN countries. Now, this is the Philippines Qualifications Framework. Now, as you can see here, we have level 6. So if you are a graduate of architecture, you are under level 6. Now, if you have undertaken a master's degree, you now have you are to be recognized as a level 7. And if you have a doctoral and postdoctoral degree, then you will be under level 8. So how do we compare these qualifications from the Philippines from other ASEAN countries? These are the national qualifications framework of other countries. As you can see in this table, we have different levels. Philippines will have 8 levels, while other countries have 9 and 10 levels. Now, to come up with a common recognition, the ASEAN committee has framed this common ASEAN Qualifications Reference Framework, or the AQRF, meaning even if you are in country A with 9 levels and a country B with 8 levels, there is a coordination or harmonizing these different levels to become just 8 levels. So in the ASEAN framework, we only have 8 levels. And basically, Philippines has the same 8 levels. Let's look at this qualifications framework and the requirements for that. So for a bachelor's degree graduate belonging to level 6, the requirement for knowledge, skills, and values would be that graduates at this level have broad or general, coherent knowledge and skills in their field of study for professional work and lifelong learning. Application will be application in professional work or research in a specialized field of discipline and or for further study. And the degree of independence will be independent or in terms of related field with minimal supervision. So that is a baccalaureate degree. If you are in level 7, meaning you have a post-baccalaureate program, the expectations for knowledge, skills, and knowledge will be the graduates at this level have already an advanced knowledge and skills in specialized, so there's no the word specialized here, or multidisciplinary field of study for professional practice or self-directed research. And the knowledge is applied in professional work that requires leadership and management in a specialized or multidisciplinary professional work, research, and or for further study. The graduate is independent or in terms of multidisciplinary field with very minimal supervision. And when you are now in level 8, expectations of persons who are graduates of this level have already highly advanced systematic knowledge and skills in very specialized or complex multidisciplinary field of learning for multifaceted research or professional practice or for the advancement of learning. This knowledge can be applied in highly specialized or complex multidisciplinary field of professional work, research, and or further study that require management expertise, innovation, and leadership. And in terms of degree of independence, is independent or in teams of multidisciplinary and complex setting. So these are with doctoral degree and postdoctoral programs. Now, while those mentioned are for formal mode of education to attain the required levels of qualification, or in order to jump from level 6 to level 7 to level 8. Another option is through the non-formal mode, and that is by attending different seminars, workshops, trainings, and having the necessary experience in that particular field of practice. And that is now where we go into the need for the specialization for architects. Now, what are the specialized architectural services? So if you would note, time and technology have already evolved to a level where specialized architectural services are needed to complete or complement or supplement the necessary work for the totality of a project. The reason is that the buildings now or projects have become so big or complex that the need for professional services would be more varied and specialized. Specialized architectural services deals with specific expertise for further enhancement of the architectural interior and exterior components of a project. Now, what is a specialist architect? According to the SPP document 203, the architect referred to as a consulting architect should be a holder of a valid specialist certificate that may be issued by the board and or the commission or the board of architecture and the PRC upon due qualification or accreditation by the IAPOA. Now, because of this provision in SPP document 203, there is now a need to come up with a program on how an architect could become a specialist architect or a consulting architect, and that is the way for a specialization program. So this is under the 2010 SPP document 203. Therefore, with that, there is a need now to create the UAP specialty councils for different specialty fields of practice, wherein each specialty council shall formulate rules for accreditation and admission into the different specialty council, such as education, training requirements for that specialization, the length of experience in the field of specialization, the levels of specialization, examination requirements if needed, CPD requirements as well, and the rules on the validity of the issuance of certificates and accreditation. So all of this has to be studied and outlined by each of the specialty councils. Now, what are the different fields of specialization? So, an example is we have architectural conservation, and this deals with the process through which the material, historical, and design integrity of humanity's built heritage are prolonged through carefully planned interventions. You can be an architectural conservator, a restoration architect, or a materials conservation specialist. Forensic Architecture. This involves assessment of spatial evidence and for its presentation in legal and political setting. Now, this may involve initiatives on how to use circumstantial evidence from scenes of destruction to employ as evidence in human rights. Forensic architecture has been widely used in the United States, especially for those who are seeking for insurance claims. No? Others, when violence takes place within the city, architectural analysis is increasingly called upon as evidence in tribunals, international courts, and different political contexts. And so this is where the need for a forensic architect comes in. We also have this facade architecture. This is quite interesting, and this involves expertise in materials, the building physics, and building performance and systems. So when you specialize in this, it incorporates structural engineering, the building physics, and advanced modeling techniques. So facade architecture also defines the building skin, wherein it is about defining the value, performance, and the architectural expression that would create iconic, sustainable, and culturally relevant facades. Take note that facade is an integral piece to the overall design of a building. It is important because it is a chance to put the emphasis on design. It also plays an important role in energy efficiency, as well as linking the exterior building design to the interior design. Facade architecture have a big impact on the flow of air and light on a building, as well as how it copes with environmental conditions. Another new specialization, interesting one also, is architectural geometry. And this focuses on research that combines applied geometry and architecture. This involves freedom curves and surfaces creation, developable surfaces, discretization, generative design, digital prototyping, and manufacturing. So architectural geometry looks at the design, analysis, and the manufacture processes. This is also about architectural design specialization. This is fractal architecture, and where fractals would mean the mathematical, recursive patterns that explain the geometry of nature, with smaller parts mirroring larger parts. The fractal geometries are used as something that people can relate to, as something of their own culture, but at the same time as something that has function. It's for ventilating and lighting the building too. Fractal architecture fills the gap between the concepts and practice of environmental design. We also have parametric architecture. Now, many new buildings now use parametric architecture, and this one involves the relationship between elements which are used to manipulate and inform the design of complex geometries and structures. As you will see that these are very complex designs. Buildings designed by Zaha Hadid use parametric architecture. Parametric architecture creates three-dimensional parametric models that include both geometry and non-geometric design and construction information. We have this specialization on architectural lighting design and deals with the permanent illumination of buildings. It involves determining the cost, appearance, and energy efficiency of buildings. Also involves the physics of light production and distribution, and the physiology and psychology of light perception by humans. So if you will note that buildings now, even though simple buildings can get can be more highlighted through the use of proper architectural lighting. What more if you have a beautiful building further highlighted by appropriate lighting. Architectural acoustics deals with the process, through which the material, historical, and design integrity of humanity's built heritage are prolonged through carefully planned interventions. It involves investigating, problem identification and solving, as well as designing solutions for matters dealing with sound and vibration in buildings. Architectural interiors is also a specialization, and this involves the design of a space which has been created by structural boundaries and the human interaction within these boundaries. Architectural interiors refers to the physical design of the interior. It is the interior shaping and scaling to fit the intended use of the space and provides the best internal function of the building, providing the best placement, manipulation, and use of both natural and artificial light. A green building specialist. Many now are being involved in sustainable design, and being a green building specialist can be a one area, no? Green building is one area of specialization that is very needed nowadays. Using process that is environmentally responsible and resource efficient throughout a building's life cycle, from siting to design, construction, operation, maintenance, renovation, and demolition. So you can be now a sustainable building specialist, a green building specialist, and a building performance specialist. I'm sure you are familiar with these building rating systems. The LEED is US green building rating. In the Philippines, we have two. This is the green by the Philippine Green Building Initiative. Green stands for Geared for Resiliency and Energy Efficiency for the Environment. And we also have Verde by the Philippine Green Building Council. Verde means Building for Ecologically Responsive Design Excellence. Now, you can be a green building assessor or green accreditation accreditor by attending seminars by both the Philippine Green Building Initiative or by the Philippine Green Building Council. We also have specialization on master development planning, wherein the focus is developing healthy, safe places in which people can thrive, communities can evolve, and the environment can flourish. This involves coordination and understanding of a wide range of disciplines, which is critical to successful master planning. Master development planning puts premium on the physical planning and engineering components of the development plan, which are the direct or sequential physical translations of the inputs from the initial stages of the comprehensive development plan effort. We also have subdivision planning specialists. And planning of land subdivisions, or the planning framework, the design and titling issues associated with subdivisions, including staging, urban design and civil works, and infrastructure issues relating to land subdivisions and the particular common property, management, and three-dimensional aspects of subdivision. Now, a specialist must be conversant with government planning legislation and statutory instruments and has the skills and experience in working with planning approval processes. Next is specializing in urban design, wherein urban design involves the process of shaping the physical setting for life in cities, towns, and villages. This is the art of making places. That is the definition of urban design. Urban design is a fundamental part of the development process. It is about making places that respond to planning, architectural, and environmental objectives. It also involves the design of buildings, groups of buildings, spaces, and landscapes, and establishing the processes that make successful development possible. Comprehensive development planning concerns the management and use of land, as well as the conservation, preservation, and upgrading of the human environment. But to become a specialist here, you must be a holder of an environmental planning license, or you must be a registered and licensed environmental planner. Comprehensive development planning concerns or involves a detailed study of the physical, social, economic, and the administrative components. Majority of the outputs of a comprehensive development planner is preparing CLUPs or CDPs of different LGUs. You can be also a specialist in inclusive design, wherein you ensure people with disabilities would have full and equal access, or secure a built environment that is usable by everyone, including disabled and older people. Here you can be an access audit specialist. Of course, you are very familiar with the popular architect, blind architect Jaime Silva. No? Now, this is also a very needed specialization, because the Philippines is always with disasters. Becoming a resilient building design. Resilient building design involves the design, construction, and operation of buildings and infrastructures that are resilient to natural and man-made disasters. It involves intentional design of buildings, landscapes, communities, and regions in response to these vulnerabilities. It produces buildings, or specialists should produce buildings and infrastructures that are resilient, cost-effective, resource-efficient, durable, and high-performing. This is specialization pertaining to building or facilities, and this is of the different building typologies. So you can be a specialist in healthcare facilities, or becoming an educational facilities specialist, a retail facilities specialist, and we have also mall facilities specialist, hotel facilities specialist, or resort facilities specialist. So this is specialization on hospitality design. On housing, you can be a specialist for horizontal housing or vertical housing. For transportation or transport terminal specialist, an airport terminal specialist, ferry terminal specialist, or a rail terminal specialist. For industrial, you can be industrial facilities specialist, and for institutional, a government office building specialist. For business, a BPO, KPO facilities specialist, or for tall buildings, a tall building specialist. Here you are, you might want to become a member on the Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat. We have specialization on project management as well as construction management. PM or project management involves application of processes, methods, knowledge, skills, techniques, and experience to execute projects effectively and efficiently. while on the other hand, CM or construction management oversee the construction process from start to finish, ensure that projects advance on time and within budget. Now, the difference between the two is that CM is just on the involvement of the CM is only on the construction phase of the project. Both PM and CM, their role is pertaining to time, cost, and quality control. We also have the facility building management specialist, or becoming a residential building manager or a commercial building manager or a facilities manager. Involves the supervision of the hard and soft services of a built structure, ensuring that the security, health, and safety and maintenance of the built structure are in place to a satisfactory level. Specializing on building management and facility management involves the business aspect of the use of the building. We also have property management specialist, involving the operation, control, and oversight of real estate. It involves processes, systems, and the manpower required to manage the life cycle of all acquired property, including acquisition, control, accountability, responsibility, maintenance, utilization, and disposition. Construction safety specialist involves the coordination and oversight of the development and implementation of construction safety programs to ensure safety and safe work practices at construction sites. So if you are aware, all construction now are required to have their construction safety program prepared, and that construction must have also construction work must have construction office safety officers around. Fire safety, FALAR specialist. FALAR means the Fire and Life Safety Assessment Report. So this is wherein you are a fire safety practitioner or a fire protection specialist. Now, the FALAR is a requirement of the Fire Code of the Philippines, RA 9514. So it deals with the application of fire safety, fire protection, prevention, and suppression technologies. Other specializations will be security evaluation and planning, building systems design, building appraisal, contract documentation and review, construction arbitrators, building components, contract administration, project development, BPO, KP operations, and so on. You can take a look at the other specializations in UAP document 203, the Specialized Architectural Services. That's it. Thank you for listening. A pleasant good day to everyone.